Coming up, we'll talk about stories of Somali health. Next on the St. Paul Forum. Hello and welcome again to the St. Paul Forum. I'm Mike Wassenaar. On today's edition of the Forum, we talk with a couple of people who are involved with the production of Egal Shidad, Stories of Somali Health. The program is a special one. It's a collaboration of Somali health organizations, and radio and TV operations, including SPNN, that's seeking over the course of several years' time to help improve the health of the Somali community in Minnesota. Here to talk about Egal Shidad and this year's edition of the program are two people involved with the production. Saeed Fahia is the Executive Director of the Confederation of Somali Communities in Minnesota, and Zuhur Ahmed is a host with KFAI and with Echo Minnesota. Zuhur, Saeed, welcome to SPNN and thank you for joining us on this edition of the program.
Thank you.
So before we talk specifically about Egal Shidad and the concept of the program, doing health education to improve the lives of Somali Minnesotans. Why is it important in your mind that Somalis be involved with media production?
Well, for two reasons. Reason number one is the language barrier. When you have Somalis involved within the media, giving messages to the larger community, it ensures that those with language barriers or who don't get much information from the mainstream media get the same info in their own language. So that is one of the reasons. And the second other reason, which I think it's equally important, is you're more trusted. So when your community sees you out there in front of the camera or hears you from the radio, they somehow can trust what you're saying.
There's an issue of confidence, trust, but also an issue of the community seeing and hearing itself.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yes. I would say also there is a cultural piece to it. I mean, the Somali person who is in the development of a program on TV or radio would be talking in words and in things that people already know and are culturally accessible to them. They'll be using names and places and figures of speech that make meaning to them.
So the common language that someone will understand from talking in their with their family or that they're familiar with from from the community that they're from. For many people may not understand the cultural adjustment that Somalis face as they live here in the Twin Cities. It's an extreme cultural adjustment, right?
Yes, people have been through a civil war. They have been in refugee camps. They have a cultural shock here, so they have to adjust to a lot of things. And programs that are developed or they have people of Somali origin working in them would show all of that and make meaning of what's happening in their lives. The cultural shock they feel, the trauma they have been through. It will also touch on like things they understand really from back home that made meaning to them then and related to what's happening here now.
Well, and I guess the other thing is that the programs themselves act as a bridge, really, for people.
Mediator.
A mediator.
Yep.
In the true sense of media, where you're acting as a go-between.
Yep, and like you were saying, it's kind of an adjustment where, I mean, like you've mentioned, the community actually did have to go through a lot of cultural adjustment. And where the Somali media comes in role is to play the role of a mediator between the kind of popular culture or the mainstream culture and the Somalis culture to actually, do that medium role to.
But you're also acting as educators,
Definitely.
Yes, yeah. The role is that of educating the community about these diseases and what's happening here. And most of the diseases here are diseases they didn't know back home.
Well, let me get to that in a moment here. I guess one of the things that would help a viewer is to give someone a sense of, to get to the first point that you had, Zuhur, is talking about building literacy within the community.
Yeah.
Within the Somali community, you're talking about multiple literacies.
Yep.
Here. You're talking about literacy, fluency of English, right? Because there's a large component of the community that it doesn't have English skills.
Yep.
But then you're also talking about other literacies because of the nature of the community as it came here, because it is very often a rural community too, right? And
yep. I guess in large is to ensure that they get the same information as any other American would get, whether it's education, health, politics, news, etc., you name it. So, I guess, different type of medias in the Twin Cities, whether it's like radio, local TVs, etc., even some websites now try to do that, I guess, education literacy you're talking about, whether it's English and building that language trust, I guess, or giving them other health, education, and youth issues, etc.
So let's turn to the work of Egal Shidad. The program is a collaboration that seeks to help with health education in the community. What kind of needs are there in the Somali community? Saeed, you were talking a little bit about some of the health needs that have occurred as a result of the cultural adjustment that Somalis
as people
face.
come here, they eat different foods. They don't walk or. In Somalia, people used to travel a lot. If you want to buy something from the market, you walk. Here, you take a car or the bus, and so there was a lot of activities that people were involved in that helped with being healthy. In here, people who are here become diabetic quickly. People say 3 to 4 years. There are heart diseases, there are mental health, there's all those kind of needs are there.
And there's also sort of adjustments to the Western diet.
Yeah.
Right, because the diet in Somalia.
That's right.
Even though people might be, the Western diet is very, very different from the diet that
we eat daily,
people ate daily in Somalia, right?
Yes.
But is there also sort of issues of adjusting to trauma because of either the refugee status or the fact that people have gone through civil war in your community?
Well, like Saeed mentioned, I guess, there are lots of health needs. And given the fact that Somalis came from a third world country where, by default, there were not that much of a health system that was established or built and had to go through refugee camps and et cetera. Coming to this country, there would be a lot, but there are those that are very specific to the community, like you've mentioned, the trauma. And that is, one area where one of the health problems that's specific to this community along with any others. And I think that's what Egal Shidad been doing to try to see, among many of these health issues within the community, which ones are highly needed to be talked about and which ones are specific.
So Egal Shidad is a 3-year project, which is collaboration to create health programming for the community. And we should explain a little bit about the name. It's a Somali name, right? But it's actually a folkloric character.